People, happy Monday. Your boy Chris J is here, and your host today for the show today for basketball, Western Conference. My man today, I got my boy Stephen Gardner with me today, man.
What's going
How you doing
on,
today,
everybody?
bro?
I'm
I'm
great.
doing
I'm great.
great,
How are you?
man. Great, man. Happy Monday. Glad to be here, man. The show. Keith Edwards, bro. How you doing, Keith?
Doing good, ready to get going.
For show. And Jordan home, man. What's up? Where you at?
Hey, what's up, Chris? I'm doing good.
Man, glad to be here today for the show. People, we are here. The basketball wait is finally over. Tomorrow night is going down with so many teams, so many storylines. Just with basketball fans, man. So, what's y'all thoughts about the game tomorrow? Just far as just the Nets and the Bucks, far as the defending champions and whatnot.
You can start, Keith. Go ahead.
Uh, you know, I think every season in the first night or two happens every year. There's always overreaction, and I'm just trying to figure out what that's going to be this year. I mean, even already in the offseason, there's overreaction on how good or how not good the Lakers are going to be. There's going to be overreaction if the Bucks don't look like returning champions going up against the Nets because there's a lot of chatter about them probably not winning the championship if the Nets were healthy, which technically the Nets won't be healthy because Kyrie's not going to be playing. So it's really going to boil down to who looks the best and who's going to overreact the most to their teams, I think.
So, Jordan, man, so what's your thoughts on just the Bucks and Nets tomorrow?
I think it's gonna be pretty exciting. Like the Bucks, I think they're gonna get their rings tomorrow, so that's always a fun night. Seeing the ring ceremony, Giannis and Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, those guys, and Nets and Bucks should be a fun battle. Like you saw the Eastern semis last year, and it was a battle head to head. It went down to the wire, and the Bucks ultimately prevailed. But it should be a fun battle, and I'm excited to get this season underway.
Steve, man, what's up with you, man? About far your thought with this Nets and Bucks and everything tomorrow night?
I think it's gonna be interesting watching the Bucks defend their title. First of all, everybody's been talking about the improvements that Giannis showed in the preseason games and the minutes he played with his jump shot off the dribble, especially from deep. So that's going to be one thing that everybody's going to be keeping an eye on, and also how the Brooklyn Nets operate without the aforementioned talents of Kyrie Irving. There's no telling if and when he's going to play. That's going to be a looming story throughout the season until something's materialized. And we're gonna be interested in seeing how they look without him, and also if Kevin Durant and James Harden can stay healthy for the duration of the season. Considering Kevin Durant is still, he's still not. He looks like he was at 100% last season, but there's really no telling as to, where he actually is unless the longevity or the consistency continues with his health. And then James Harden with hamstring injuries and being on the other side of 30 now, those are the most common injuries that linger on and on. So those would be storylines specifically with those two teams to look forward to.
I agree, man. So, tell me your thoughts on like Kyrie Irving, Jordan.
I mean, Kyrie Irving is a great talent. Obviously, he's already a champion. He won with the Cavs, but it's kind of annoying to hear the same storyline recycled over and over again. Like Kyrie Irving, is he gonna get the vaccine or not? And like, what's he gonna do? Like, is he gonna be able to play? Like, it's kind of distracting. And frankly, for the Nets, like I'm still surprised they're putting up with it right now. Like they have aspirations to win a championship. KD's in his prime. James Harden hasn't won yet, and he's in his prime too, and they have a lot of talent too, like Blake, LaMarcus, some other guys too, and like Kyrie Irving is just being a distraction right now. So someone needs to knock some sense into Kyrie and tell him to like he needs to just get the vaccine or do something because like right now he's causing too many problems off the court for them, and they're trying to win a championship and they want to have as many as focused. They want to be as focused as can be right now, and Kyrie Irving is just being a distraction for them.
I agree. So, Keith, man, tell me about Kyrie Irving, as far as just with him being Kyrie.
I mean, Kyrie has always been his own worst enemy. You go back to when he was with the Cavs and he left because he wanted to be his own man, went to the Celtics, he hasn't done anything since then. He didn't do anything before LeBron. He hasn't done anything after LeBron. And the number one issue with him is the best ability is availability, and he's not always available because he's been hurt a lot. And then you throw on top of that, he's not available now because of, in my opinion, stupid personal decision that he's making. Really, he's not looking out for anyone but himself. He's not looking out for his team. He's not looking out for his fans. It's always about Kyrie being number one. He always thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. I think his intentions are good most of the time, but a lot of times he just needs to learn when to shut up and just needs to learn when he needs to do what he needs to do and not put all this other crap on top of it. And right now he's just looking out for himself, which is what he's always done, is what he's always going to do. I mean, there's a lot of talk about him retiring. Honestly, I think that's probably what's best for him, just because teams are going to grow tired of just him in general, whether it's the injuries or his stance on the vaccine or him saying stupid stuff like the earth is flat that just doesn't make sense. Like he's going to wear out his welcome, and I think he's going to do that sooner rather than later.
I would say Kyrie just being Kyrie. He's like a very headache, great talent. He just does the most. Kyrie's a great player, but sometimes the off the court issues just with being a distraction, being Kyrie, being weird. But just as far as Kyrie, he's Kyrie. Brooklyn, they'll be fine. A KD, James Harden, and Brooklyn team, they'll find a way to do something. Now tomorrow night, people, my Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors. Steph, how you feel about Golden State Lakers tomorrow night?
Oh, the Warriors are the wild card of the entire WNBA this season. If you look across all the mainstream media talking heads, you'll see varying opinions on how good they'll be. People talking about do they still have the juice as far as their core being Steph, Clay, Dre. People are also talking about whether they're, the depth of their bench and whether that's compromised or if that's something that they can reliably depend upon. They have Andrew Wiggins, who also is in a similar situation as Kyrie Irving at the moment, who's an integral piece of their team. And also, the Steve Kerr have the juice as a coach to help get them over the hump is another storyline. So all those things were said about the Warriors. As far as the Lakers, it's really just about health for them. They have a lot of new players. They have more new players on their team added to their roster than any other team in the league. So that could be something that's an obstacle for them early on in the season, or really up until the All-Star break, to be honest. So seeing them come together, especially as players come back from their ailing injuries, will be another talking point. And it'll be a great game nonetheless.
Jordan, man, tell me about far as the Warriors and Lakers tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, I think Warriors and Lakers, it should be an exciting matchup. The Lakers, obviously, you want to see how Russell Westbrook fits in with the other two guys, AD and LeBron. And LeBron, too, he's debuting his New Jersey number 2, number 6. So, and they have all those other veterans, too. Like, they got Rondo back. They got Dwight Howard. They got Carmelo, Kent Bazemore, and some other guys there, too. So you want to see how they integrate together in their first regular season game. And the Warriors, too. The Warriors should be a lot of fun. Klay Thompson should be returning soon. So you got Steph Curry's got his backcourt mate back. You got some of those other guys too, like the young rookies, Jonathan Kuminga. You have Moses Moody. Wiseman's going to take the next step, sophomore. So I want to see what they're going to do. But it should be a fun and exciting game, and I can't wait to watch it.
I agree, man. Keith, your turn, Keith.
I think it's going to be pretty much just like it was with that one game playoff at the end of the season. I like the Warriors. I really like Steph Curry. I really don't understand why people think they're going to be a contender, just even in the West itself. Klay Thompson is coming back. He's not coming back until, I think, Christmas is when they said he was coming back. And he really, outside of the rookies, didn't add anyone else to that. Steph had a great second half of the year last year, but the way he was playing is not conducive to championship basketball. You even go back to when the Warriors, before they had KD, when they beat the Cavs in the championship, um, they were a complete team outside of Steph with Draymond, with Klay Thompson, with Andrew Bogut, with David Lee. They had a bunch of guys. They just don't have that same depth that they did then, that they don't have that same depth now that they did then. As far as the Lakers, honestly, I expect it to be a little bit ugly for a month or two. You got a lot of people on that team that are playing together for the first time. Um, I think health is a concern with them just due to age, but really health is a concern for every NBA team. I mean, look at the Nets. Their team is relatively young, and they were without a lot of their players in the postseason. So I think you can pretty much just throw it out of the window. Um, they have to be healthy for them to win, but you could say that about any team. At the end of the day, the Lakers are probably going to come out of the West. It just depends on who they face coming out of the East as to whether they'll be favorites to win the championship or not.
So, Keith, you telling me with Klay Thompson coming back, Golden State will not be a contender? That's what
No.
you're saying?
Nope.
Why is that? Why?
Because I think the Lakers are better. I think Utah's better. I think is better. I think Phoenix is better. I don't think they're better than either four of those teams. They're exciting to watch, but they don't have the roster to be a championship team. Not right now.
Wow. So Jordan, man, is still, man, hop in on that, please, far just with Klay Thompson coming back.
I mean, I want to say I kind of agree with you because we haven't seen what they're capable of, but just having Steph on the team, I think elevates them to another level. And Steph with like competent teammates, which I think he has. I think one or two of those rookies or those young guys, Wiseman, Kuminga, or Moses Moody, one of those guys is gonna step up. Wiggins, I think Wiggins can help out. He's solid starter, and they have some other pieces, but I think like Dre is still there too, and they got Iguodala back too, their vet, Finals MVP, and I think like just having Steph Curry, and now Steph Curry has some of his guys back that he won previously with, and with the combination of the young guys and Steve Kerr, I think like I wouldn't say they're like the favorite, but it wouldn't surprise me if they made another deep playoff run this season because just of like Steph Curry's greatness and all the other pieces they put around. I think like it's not a surefire thing for sure because there's other talented teams, but the Warriors it wouldn't surprise me if we saw them like at a top four team in the postseason again.
Steven?
As I said in my opening statement about the game itself, I think the Warriors are the biggest wild card in the NBA, excuse me, for a reason. They have a relatively high ceiling if everything goes as best as it can, of course, because they have a few top end talents as far as Steph Curry and potentially Klay Thompson. But again, that's a big wild card being his health and his progression. He hasn't played in an NBA game in how long?
2 years, I
So it's
think.
gonna take it exactly. So it's gonna take him more than just a few games or even a few months to get back in game shape and rhythm. And as we all know, as a shooter, rhythm is the most important thing you can have. Not to mention the dynamic that made Klay Thompson who he is his defense. So he has to find his way on the defensive end as well. And coming off of lower body injuries, it's always tough for guys to get back into the flow of things as far as being able to move laterally and move with unplanned planting and stepping and rotations and things of that nature. So I don't think the Warriors are contenders this season. I just think they're a very good team, and their cap is most likely going to be a first round appearance.
Okay, I feel it. I feel it. Now, people, Phoenix. How y'all feel about the Phoenix Suns? Got to the finals last year, lost in the finals in 6 games. So, Jordan, man, so tell me your thoughts on the Suns.
I mean, I think Phoenix with they got Chris Paul back, and some of the young guys should make another big leap, like Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges. They re-signed. I want to see what they should have re-signed DeAndre Ayton. Like it should have been a no-brainer, but I wonder what they're holding out for. Like some of his peers have gotten contract extensions already, but they're waiting on DeAndre Ayton. But like if they're able to retain him and get a deal going, then I think like Ayton is a big part of their future. Like he's a young, talented big man. Like he was the first overall pick. Like he should expand his game more. And I don't know if like Phoenix is guaranteed back to the finals because like you got the Lakers looming in the background and some other teams too. But like Phoenix, if everything goes right with their young guys improving and Chris Paul like maintaining like the level, a similar level, he might drop off a little bit just because of like age, like natural decline, just like slightly. But if he's able to give like at least 90% of what he was able to bring to the club last season, like Phoenix should have like no problem getting into another deep playoff run this season.
Keith?
Um, I always say you can only play who's in front of you. So I'd give last season Phoenix full credit, for making it to the finals because they beat teams they were supposed to beat. But I think this season, a lot like last season, is really going to depend on the health of other teams. Because as much as they, when we look at it after the fact, in the time, the Lakers were pretty close to being on the verge to taking care of Phoenix in the first round before Anthony Davis got hurt. Like a lot of people forget that. They look at when they swept Denver, who didn't have Jamal Murray. Um, they beat the Lakers with a hobbled LeBron, super hobbled Anthony Davis. They're a good team, but I don't expect them to make it as far as they did last season if other teams stay healthy. Um, and I don't think I don't think there's going to be a lot of health issues this year like there was last season. It's a regular season; they're not condensing it like they did last year. You're always going to see injuries. I don't think we're going to see as many injuries as we did. I mean, and who knows what happens? Maybe there's some trades that come about in the season that make them a better team. But you look at what other teams have done; they didn't really improve. I don't think they were better than some teams if they were healthy. So I don't think they can go to where they did last season if everyone else stays healthy.
Okay. Steven?
Well, as last season, which I proved myself to be right, Phoenix Suns are better than pretty much, and I say pretty much any team in the NBA on paper. There's only, in my opinion, two, maybe three rosters that you can put over theirs pound for pound. And obviously that being the Lakers, which is more so off names than it is off of, what they've shown recently. And the other being obviously the Brooklyn Nets. So after those two teams, any other team in the NBA, I don't feel comfortable saying that they're off of their paper roster that they're better than the Phoenix Suns. That being said, I see no reason why they can't get back to that finals round and playing their chances from there. But I think I think their floor for the season is most likely going to be the conference finals. So playing everything with his chances, I see no reason why they can't return back to where they were last season. And for the many people that kind of credit their last season's success more so to other teams than what the Phoenix Suns did, my rebuttal has always been that Chris Paul missed how many games and wasn't himself against the Lakers for pretty much the entire series. On top of that, he missed two games because of COVID against the Clippers in the conference finals. And then in the NBA finals, he ended up not being himself in the last four games because of a thumb that he ended up needing or a wrist that he ended up needing surgery on. So for all the things that people say about other teams, they had their own injuries on top of Devin Booker missing games in the Clippers series as well. So their improvements all came internally, players from player development from their young players, specifically Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson. That's going to be pretty much where their improvements are going to come. They don't need to make any changes to their roster. Their roster proved its worth last season. So everything as far as changes and whether they get better or not is going to come internally. You know who Chris Paul is, the point guard, one of the best point guards that ever played the game. You know who Devin Booker is. He proved his worth again on the Olympic stage. DeAndre Ayton's beginning to prove his worth and show what his true ceiling is. He still has more room to improve, but he took great strides last season, specifically in the playoffs. So it's all about, for them, Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson. If they can do more things off the ball and with the ball in their hands, creating shots for themselves and others, I see no reason why they can't get back to the finals and win the finals. Honestly.
As far as that hunger, being a team, as far as being coached together. So this season does be ready to play. As far with Chris Paul, Booker, Aiden, the whole crew. Now people gotta talk about this player in particular, Dame Dollar. What's your thoughts on the Portland Trailblazers? Like basically, should Dame like leave or should he stay in Portland like long term? Jordan,
I know Dame is he's a heck of a talent. He's loyal to a fault a little bit, but I kind of see this situation playing out like Kevin Garnett, like with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's gonna like overstay his welcome a little bit, and eventually he's gonna like they're gonna find a new home for him because at this stage in his career, like I don't see the Portland Trailblazers winning with their roster. Like they have CJ, they have Yusuf Nurkic, and they have other few solid role players, but like none of those pieces like CJ is like a fringe all star. I want to say like Nurkic is solid, but he's not elite, and the other pieces around like I just don't see Portland. Like Dame's gonna get his numbers and he's gonna have good playoff numbers, but I think once again they're gonna fall short like in the playoffs. It might be a first round, maybe they might get to a second round this season, but like with their current roster and they don't have another star. I mean they got a new coach, Chauncey Billups, so I want to see what he can do a little bit. He's making his debut as the head coach, so like he can try to implement new things and try out new defensive or offensive schemes, but with the roster they have right now and Dame and those other guys, like I don't see them making anything like past the second round.
Stephen.
Oh, that is one of the more intriguing storylines to follow throughout this season with the Portland Trailblazers. I'm personally of the opinion that Dame won't find his postseason success team wise in Portland. I just don't feel like the market can supply him with the talent that he needs to contend against the likes of the Suns, the Lakers, the Clippers when healthy, Denver, Utah. Those teams, I just don't feel like they have a legitimate chance to beat in a series. On any given night, Damian Lillard can go and get them a win. On any given night, he can give them 2 wins. He might even give them 3 wins, but he won't be able to deliver on 4 because there's just too much talent amassed on these other teams that I mentioned. Though they did get better, their roster looks better than it did last season. And really for them, as Keith said, with anybody is contingent upon health. But even at their best, I just don't see them being able to beat any of those 4 or 5 teams that I mentioned coming out of the West. So he'll have to go elsewhere if he plans to have postseason success of any nature.
Gotcha. Keith.
Yeah, I mean, with Dame, it's really a thing that he's just loyal to a fault. He really holds on to this old school ideology that you have to win a championship on your own, which is silly because no one has ever won a championship on their own. As much as people want to say Jordan did, he didn't, Kobe didn't, Magic didn't, Bird didn't, no one's ever won a championship on their own. Um, and he says all the right things on wax in interviews, but at some point he's going to get fed up. Um, I mean, I still think he'll go down as one of the all-time greats, but whether we like it or not, if he wants to elevate his position and be even greater, he has to win a championship. That's just the way it is. He doesn't have to go out and be Bill Russell and win 11. He doesn't have to win 6 like Jordan did, but if he doesn't win at least one championship, he's always going to be another one of those players of what if, like Karl Malone or Charles Barkley, players who are really good, who are all-time greats, but they couldn't be greater because they didn't win an NBA championship. And I think he's very aware of his legacy. He doesn't want to put his team out and make them look bad, and I respect that. But at some point, he's got to let the team go and think about himself.
So if Dame left Portland, like what's a good fit for him, Jordan?
I think Philadelphia is possibly a good fit. He would be playing with another star with Embiid, and I think that's a good duo. And they have the defensive players to like make up for like Dame's like lack of defense a little bit. Like you've got Matisse Thybulle, Danny Green's there. You've got Tobias Harris. So I think Philadelphia. I don't know what the logistics of that would be like, and you'd probably have to send Ben Simmons maybe away. He can get his fresh start. Like I know Ben like reported to Philadelphia recently, but like you can ship him off, or you can find a way to make it work without giving up Ben or something. But Philadelphia, I think, has the right pieces, and he'll have a little bit of an easier time in the East to make a finals run. And yeah,
Keith.
Ideally, if he wants to win right now, for sure you have to say Philadelphia. I think another team that you can look at would be the Boston Celtics as well. Right now, their point guards are Dennis Schroeder and Marcus Smart. Um, I don't think they're ever going to get rid of Marcus Smart. They love Marcus Smart in Boston, but I can't imagine they're married to Dennis Schroeder. Um, I mean, he gave up a lot of money to go there instead of staying with the Lakers. So if they can make it work, I don't think they're going to be able to trade for Schroeder because that's not much trade value. But if they can get Schroeder and a couple first round picks in on it, I think Boston would be a good spot for him as well.
Steven.
The Keith, and that I feel like the best trade for him would be going to the 76ers in exchange for Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, and fillers of all types of draft pick compensation, probably monetary compensation, all types of things, just to kind of level out the trade because Ben Simmons' stock is as low as it's ever going to get at this point. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like the Sixers are probably his best bet if he's trying to win and win now. Outside of there, I don't really see a fit or a trade that makes sense for another team for them to execute upon that. I mean, Boston makes sense, but I just can't realistically see them giving up a Jalen Brown, for example, plus others to attain the talent of Damian Lillard. I just personally can't see it at the moment. Now, of course, tomorrow things could change, or in a month things could change as we start seeing the wheels spin on this season. But at the moment, I just don't see any fit for him outside of the 76ers.
I would agree. I think with Dame Dollar, like Philly would be a good fit. You said Boston. To me, it's Golden State with like with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Dame Dollar. I mean, Dame from Oakland, so that would be crazy playing with them. But far as Philly, just to fit with Joel Embiid, that'll probably be a great fit as well. But far as the Western Conference, so like, what's your thoughts about Jamal Murray? Like, far when he comes back next season, like far as Denver, like they win the title next, Jordan.
yeah. I mean, Jamal Murray. I think he's one of the top scorers. Like you saw his like debut, or not debut, but like his entrance in the playoffs, like in the bubble, and Murray was doing those like crazy layups and like all these like scoop shots and things like that. I mean, Murray is coming back from an ACL injury, so he's gonna like take a little bit of time to like get back to full strength. But I think like if Murray's able to come back on a clean timeline, then I think like him and Jokic and the other guys on the Denver Nuggets, I think they can. I think they're like another second round team, maybe a conference finals. But like unless Murray is 100% healthy, then I can't say for certain. But I think Jamal Murray will be. I hope he comes back well. It's fun watching Jamal Murray.
Go ahead, Keith.
Uh, I mean, I live in Denver, so I'm a Nuggets fan. I watch a lot of Nuggets basketball. Um, it, it's not even really just Jamal Murray. I think when it comes to the Denver Nuggets, what it comes down to is how healthy can they be and how long can they be healthy. That's been their biggest issue for 5, 6 seasons now. It used to be Jamal Murray and Gary Harris. Then they got rid of Gary Harris, and then Will Barton started getting hurt. So it depends on health. When they're healthy, they I think are one of the top three teams in the league. The problem is they can't stay healthy. Um, and call me pessimistic, I don't expect them to stay healthy either. Just because every time, as a Nuggets fan, if you think they're going to be healthy, they're not. But I mean, they did pick up some pieces last season and in the offseason. They were able to keep Will Barton. They picked up Aaron Gordon in a trade. They signed Uncle Jeff Green. Murray should be coming back. Nikola Jokic is the MVP that everyone hates. Um, but it's going to come down to health for him. If they can't be healthy, they can't be competitive. If they can be healthy and stay healthy, I don't know if they can win a championship. I think they're just a little bit off from there, but they can surprise a lot of teams and make it to the finals if they can be healthy. It's just a big if at this point.
I agree. Steven?
I don't disagree with what Keith said in regards to the ceiling for the Denver Nuggets. I'm a big fan of, well, even past a fan, I'm a big fan of just the brand of basketball that Mike Malone has been playing. It's not Jokic centric. It's not as Jokic centric as people presume it to be, especially with him coming off of being MVP and everything. That was more so out of happenstance with Jamal Murray being injured and them having a lot of players rotating in and out the lineup throughout the season. He was the mainstay. He played, I believe it was every game last season. And obviously he played well. He had a career season, won an MVP. For them though, this season they have I think the third most logged minutes for returning players from last season to this season. And that continuity is definitely going to do them a solid, even with Jamal Murray's return being in the air right now. They still haven't given a presumed date for him to return yet. But if he can return, his injury was maybe a week or two after the All Star break last season. So, thinking with that perspective, that date was maybe a month or so later than what it typically is, based off of when they started the season last year and everything. So, putting that timetable in perspective, we probably won't see him until close to the All Star break this season, if not after that. So, it's going to take him, just like I mentioned with Klay Thompson, a few weeks to months for him to get back into the flow of things. And again, as a shooter, his rhythm is the most important thing he can have, and it's going to take a lot of game reps and game minutes to regain that. And I feel like their ceiling is contingent upon how healthy he can be and how productive he can be once he sustains some health. And we saw what that got them in the second round last season. So it's kind of dicey in Denver right now, but I do feel like they can make another second round appearance, no question, regardless of how well Murray can play or not. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to step in and be big for them this season, as long as he can stay healthy as well. And then
And get vaccinated.
also having Aaron Gordon for an entire season as well should pay big dividends for them. Having someone that can defend the bigger body wings and guards and even big man, and also helping Jokic in the playmaking department.
I would say this about Denver. Of course, Denver just signed Porter to an extension, a lot of money, a time contract. So, what's your thoughts about Porter signing that big contract like long term, like a Keith or Steven or Jordan?
Keith, as the Denver spokesperson, you go ahead and
I
take
mean,
it from
Keith,
here.
I mean, Keith from Denver, so you might as well you talk about your thoughts about Porter, man. Sign him long
I mean,
term,
there was
5 year
no one in
extension.
Denver that was not happy about the extension. Obviously, as Nuggets fans, as a Nuggets sports writer, we want to see continued improvement for him. Last season, he really stepped it up, um, rebounding, especially on the offensive glass. I think he still has a ways to go in defense, but I think he deserved it, the extension that he got. He showed proper improvement, and he didn't really show signs of any regression. I mean, if they didn't sign him to that, someone else is going to sign him to that. Maybe not as much money just because of the bird rights, but someone would have signed him to a lot of money. He definitely still has the potential. He, I think, is still trying to overcome a little not playing as much his first couple of years. because of the injury to his back he had coming into the league. But when he's healthy, when he's playing, especially when he's playing with Jokic and Murray, he is probably one of the best number 3 options in the league. As long as he keeps improving on his defense, I think he'll well deserve that contract. But at this point, we just don't know if he's going to slip at all. Doesn't look like he will. But if he does, I mean, you never know when you sign people to these contracts. Anything can happen. All these contracts really are made based on faith that you're going to continue on the level that you are. There's no signs that he won't, so I think it was a good signing.
I
Yeah,
would
for
say
me, oh, yeah, for me, I kind of disagree just slightly. Like like he has a lot of potential, and like he has shown improvement for the past like few seasons. But for me, that's like I understand why Denver did it, because like he's a young talent. He's one of the best rising stars in the game, and Denver's a small market, and they gotta retain like free agents aren't flocking to Denver like they are like LA and New York. So I get why they had to sign into that big contract. But like for me, like it's a little bit reminiscent of like that Wiggins contract that like he got a few seasons ago with the Timberwolves, and like they paid him all that money and like banking on his potential, like hoping that he's gonna like reach like all-star superstar level status. And for me, like Michael Porter Jr., like he could hit there one day, but like for me, like I'm a little bit uneasy trying to pay for potential, especially with the MPJ's like injury history. I know he's like had various injuries like lagging like in his career, so like I don't like paying like for that potential. I want him to be already an all-star before I'm giving him that big contract. Like I get why Denver did it, and like he could certainly reach that like this season or the next 2 seasons or so, but like for me, I'm a little bit uneasy about that contract.
Stefan.
That is a tough question. I feel like from a business perspective, so if I put my GM hat on and I'm looking at my roster and assessing the talent I have and I'm considering the market that I'm in, they had no choice but to lock up Michael Porter Jr. for as long as they could and also appease him monetarily. So they did themselves a solid and did what they had to do on that end. However, if I'm looking at it and assessing players for their talent, their potential, and what I feel like they can give me in the now, I don't feel comfortable giving him that much money. And my main reasoning behind that, outside of his obvious health issues, is that though he's only 22 years old, I've never seen another player targeted so much defensively from another team's offensive standpoint for a
He,
series. The way he was targeted against the Phoenix, or when they went against the Phoenix Suns, like Chris Paul, Cameron Payne, Devin Booker, they almost sought after him every single possession, every minute that he was on the floor, to the point where Michael Malone was forced to go off of his typical rotations, and that even affected Michael Porter Jr.'s rhythm and production throughout that series. Though he was healthy, he played well in the first round against Portland and helped get them over that hump to get to the second round, but he just had to exert so much effort in a failing effort, but in trying to be somewhat viable defensively, but he hasn't shown any inklings that he's worked towards that or that that's even in the plans for him. So a lot remains to be seen from him on that end. But in a positive light, he did up his scoring averages 10 points last season, and he had a career high effective field goal percentage. He was effective in the regular season, but you pay players that much money to be one of your best players on the floor come playoff time in winning time, as I call it. And if you can't be viable defensively in winning time to the point where you're almost a negative where you're literally a negative to the team in plus or minus, I personally don't feel comfortable giving him that much money.
I feel it. So what's y'all thoughts on the Jason Kidd going to Dallas, playing Luca Legend? So what's y'all thoughts on this J Kidd going to Dallas, like Coach Luca Doncic? Like, can Dallas be a strong contender? How much would J Kidd play a factor for Luca far career wise, playing with him this year, or being his coach? I would say, Jordan.
Oh, I absolutely hate this move so much. Jason Kidd, like if you're wondering why Giannis can't shoot, you can thank Jason Kidd. Like I like you guys should go back and look at like Giannis's rookie shooting form. Like you can like it was a work in progress, but it had a lot of like fluidity a little bit. And then like Jason Kidd came in, he was the coach, and like Giannis's shot was so broken after that. And like Jason Kidd has like he was a heck of a player. He was one of Hall of Famer, NBA champion, and everything. But like Jason Kidd as a coach is not a good coach in my opinion. Like I hope that he's changed a lot, but like since his days from Milwaukee, like you look at the 17-18 Bucks compared to the 18-19 Bucks, like the Bucks were so much better. Like when Coach Bud took over, like Jason Kidd was doing like silly tricks. You had that cup thing, like I guess you could say it was smart. I don't know, like I thought it was kind of silly, but like Jason Kidd, like he was a great player, terrible coach, and I'm hoping that he doesn't like ruin Luca, because Luca is a great player. And like I'm hoping that like his time with the Lakers, like he won a championship as an assistant coach under Frank Vogel, so maybe he's changed his ways. But like I do not like the hiring at all. They should have went somewhere else. I know he's a Mavs legend, but I think that was an utter failure on the Mavericks to hire Jason Kidd as the head coach for Luca.
Steven?
Yeah, the Jason Kidd hiring had me perplexed. That really caught me off guard. It came out of nowhere. It didn't make much sense to me, especially considering his last stint as a head coach. Granted, everybody should be given an opportunity to prove themselves in a new situation, especially with it being years later after being an assistant coach on a team that won a championship in the bubble. But that being said, he did it as an assistant, and he did it on a team that's the assistant coach is LeBron James. Let's be honest. So he fell in the paradigm of coaches on that team that had a say so and everything. He was there more off a namesake and to help with the point guard connection he had with Rajon Rondo and everything like that. So that being said, I don't like Jason Kidd being there. I don't think he helps them be any better than they were under the guidance and generalship of Rick Carlisle, who is highly regarded as one of the three best coaches. There's arguably no one better at X's and O's than him as a coach, especially with Brad Stevens not being in the coaching spot anymore. Outside of Eric Spoelstra and maybe Monty Williams at this point, there's no one else that you can say is better than Rick Carlisle. So they've taken a big drop off from there. On top of, I just don't feel like their roster suggests still even suggested the hiring of Jason Kidd. They needed somebody that was going to get more out of Luka Doncic for one, but even more so, Kristaps Porzingis. Like, what connection is Jason Kidd going to have with bringing more out of Porzingis in their offensive system? I just don't see a fit there, and I just don't see them getting any better from that hiring either.
Keith?
I do think Jason Kidd at some point deserves another shot at being a head coach. Um, he looked terrible in Milwaukee. There's no getting around that, but not so terrible that somewhere he should get another chance. I don't think Dallas was the spot for him, and really, people are looking at the coach in Dallas as a problem. That's not the problem. The problem in Dallas is Kristaps Porzingis, and him not being able to stay healthy. Because when he's not healthy, that puts so much more on Luca. And they have a good supporting cast, but they need a solid number two on offense, especially on defense. And when he's healthy, he has one of the highest ceilings of any NBA player. We've seen that from his rookie season until now. The problem is he's never healthy. Um, like when he was traded from New York to Dallas, a lot of people were on New York for trading such a talent. And my first reaction was, well, it doesn't matter if he's not playing. And what's happened since he's gotten to Dallas? He's missed a lot of games because he's not healthy. Um, so really, whether the coach is Jason Kidd or Rick Carlisle, Dallas' success depends on how many games Porzingis plays. And if the trend as what it has been the last few years, you can expect him to not play very many games, and he's going to get another coach fired when really the issue is him not being able to play.
Say that. I got you. So So who would you say like just in the Western Conference? What's your most sleeper team for teams that's on the rise? Like Dallas, the Pelicans. You have like so many teams in the Western Conference. Which team is like your most sleeper team? Like for the team that can make a big leap this year, Jordan.
I want to say Memphis, like, is my sleeper team. Like, they're not a big market. Like, John Morant, he's talked about a little bit here and there. I've seen some highlights on SportsCenter of him, but I think Memphis is a sleeper team. They've got a lot of young talent. Morant, they just re-signed Jaren Jackson Jr. and they have some other pieces. I think like Memphis could sneak into the playoffs. Like uh, especially with maybe in the seventh or eighth spot. But like Memphis has a lot of young talent, and it wouldn't surprise me if they made a playoff run like in one of those last few spots.
Keith.
Um, I mean, I guess it really depends on what your expectations are. Um, I think a team that could make it deep and has the potential to beat a lot of other teams in the right situation, as Greg likes to call them, that other team in LA, the Squatters, the Clippers. Um,
Clippers.
just because they do have a good roster. I mean, they still have Kawhi Leonard, they have Paul George, Marcus Morris Sr., Terrence Mann, Eric Bledsoe, Nicholas Batum. The problem is they, for some reason, whether it's being under the Lakers shadow or the injuries to Kawhi, the injuries to Paul George, the coach, whatever it be, just never play up to their potential. Um, if they play up to their potential, they can be that one team that ruins the plans for a lot of other teams. But it's another question of a big if. They haven't so far. Um, I don't even know if they will this season, but they're always a team to keep an eye on just because of the players they have on their roster.
Steven.
I feel like the Utah Jazz can can repeat potentially as having the best record in the NBA off of continuity alone, and they've added another dynamic player in Eric Pascal, who is a former Golden State Warrior. He's big time, especially in the right situation, and I feel like he's in the right situation being with Utah right now. He allows them to play small ball when Gobert can't get out to defend the likes of a Terrence Mann, who torches them for I don't know how many threes in a quarter or a half that swings the entire series. So they've addressed that situation. They're also typically healthy, so if they can stay healthy again with the addition of Pascal having the reigning six man of the year, and Jordan Clarkson, having Donovan Mitchell not get hurt in the playoffs, which has never really been an issue, but that spooky ankle injury is just really what turned the series for them against the Clippers last season. I feel like if Donovan Mitchell doesn't tweak his ankle at the end of I think that was game 5 or game 6. I think it was game 5. If that doesn't happen, I think their fortunes in that series completely change, even with the emergences of Terrence Mann and Patrick Beverly playing better for the Clippers that series and everything. I feel like the Utah Jazz can do what they did last season and then make a deeper run, potentially making the conference finals.
I would say I would agree with you with Utah. I believe this year they just have that chill. Mitchell, he's a superstar, people. He's a superstar. He is that guy, and they're dealt. They have a ton of shooters from the three, do the game. To me, the question is Gobert. Can he guard like guards better? The part in the playoffs, he got exposed last year. So can he be better defensively and offensively as well? And people, of course, this question has to be asked. Will the finals be Lakers Nets? Stephen, the floor is yours.
No, I do not think so.
Why is
Spoiler
that,
alert
man?
for
Why?
everybody. I just don't think the Lakers are going to have either the health or the production that they need to get over uh, 3-game series to get into the finals. I don't think there's much of a question as far as will the Brooklyn Nets make it through. They're the odds on favorites even with or without Kyrie Irving. But for the Lakers, one of my friends, I jokingly call them the Los Angeles AARPs because they have so many elder statesmen on their roster. It's ridiculous, and the fact that they'll be relying so heavily upon the likes of Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James for deep playoff runs and minutes that they'll have to play. I just don't see it right now. I feel like the Suns could clip them again. I feel like Utah could potentially beat them in the series, spacing all of those older fellas out in the court and playing in the open floor in transition. I just don't feel like the Lakers are going to make it out of the West this season unless they make another change to their roster, which I can't see because they've done so much. I just don't feel like the Lakers will hold up their end of making it to see that Nets versus Lakers final.
Gotcha. Jordan, floor is yours.
I know everyone wants to see Nets Lakers in the finals because those are the two biggest markets right now, and they have all the stars with LeBron, AD, KD, James Harden, Kyrie, etc. But I believe that it's going to be the Bucks, and I think the Lakers have a better chance to make the finals than the Nets do. Like Kyrie Irving is a big thing still. Like Kyrie Irving, like they say, like the big three, like for the Nets, but that's a big if. Like you play who's in front of you, as the other guys have said. Like, and if Kyrie's not on the court, that's a weapon that the Nets can't use. And the Bucks, I think, are like they're on a roll right now. Giannis's jumper looks better. I know it's still like early and like that can like regress. But like I think the Bucks like exercise their playoff demons a little bit. Like they finally they got past all the other teams and they got their championship. And like Giannis is like if he can like get that jumper up a little bit, that three, then he's gonna unlock another part of his game. And like Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are both healthy and everything. I think the Bucks will make it so the Nets won't be able to get to the finals. On the Lakers, I think the Lakers they have a little bit of a better chance. I know that like they are old too. They have a lot of experience, but they're also old. So will they be able to hold up by the time it gets to like the conference finals? I see this graphic right here with this all the beers, but like I think like the Lakers have a better chance to make it out of the West than the Nets do of the East, just because the Bucks are in the way. But I know that's what everyone wants to see, but I'm gonna have to say no to the Lakers, and no, or yes to the Lakers, no to the Nets. Lakers Bucks finals.
Keith, the floor is yours, man.
I'm gonna have to agree with Jordan. Except I'm not as bullish on the age of the Lakers as most other people are. I'm not trying to say they should not be concerned about the age of their players. I mean, we can't argue numbers. Statistically, the older a player gets, the more likely he is to be injured. But I always combat that with even the younger players in the league today are seeing significant injuries that's causing significant issues on a lot of teams. The Nets didn't make the finals because it was KD playing by himself and James Harden playing at, let's be generous and say 70%. Kyrie didn't play. Kyrie might not play at all this season. Um, and then there's a lot of teams that have just gotten better out in the East. The Bucks, I wouldn't necessarily say they got better, but I think they were the better team, especially when you account for the health issues that the Nets will come across again this season, most likely. I think the Hawks are going to be better. The Miami Heat, even though they got embarrassed by the Bucks in the playoffs a little, they're going to have Victor Oladipo coming back, so they're going to be a better team. I just don't think the Nets will be able to play as a complete team long enough to make it to the finals out of the East. And as far as the Lakers, they do have a lot of old players, but they have a lot of old players. So I don't think minutes are going to be that much of a concern because I think they went with experience and a lot of it to be able to combat having to play them 35, 40 minutes a game. they're not going to. The only person I expect to play a lot of minutes is LeBron James because he says that he's not going to cut back on his minutes. If he's not going to cut back on, there's nothing you can do about that. I think the biggest wild card for sure is Russell Westbrook and how he looks when him and LeBron play together. But another way to look at that is one of the biggest problems that the Lakers have had is they don't have a primary, secondary ball handler when LeBron is off the floor. And when LeBron is off the floor and Russell Westbrook is running the offense, that's not an issue. The issue is when they're on the floor together. And we've seen a lot of players be able to do that with LeBron. So, I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. Injuries are always going to be a wild card, but I think it's going to be the Lakers and the Bucks in the finals.
Lakers in the Bucks. I would say this, man. I hope my Lakers do something because if LeBron James won the title with Russell Westbrook and Melo, that would be like the icing on the cake if that happened. But as far as the fit, I mean, Russ can't shoot that good. He's horrible off the ball. Russ turned the ball over too much. In the preseason, we're 0-6 so far. So I'm scared right now. Hopefully my Lakers can pick up the pace and get some wins tomorrow night and get their chemistry right. But far as it will definitely take some time during the season because it's just the fit itself. We got to see. And to me, AD, can he be healthy? I don't know yet. On the past couple of seasons, the guy's always hurt. So hopefully my Lakers can definitely do something. So just the last question tonight, people. So you said the final prediction is Bucks Lakers, right, Keith? Bucks Lakers?
Yeah, Bucks Lakers.
And Jordan, you said Bucks who?
Bucks Lakers as well.
Bucks Lakers and Stephen?
Ooh. I'm gonna go Suns Nets.
Suns Nets. That's different. Okay. Well, people, man, just tonight was a great show tonight. You know, came all together, made something happen. Nuts and bolts is killing it, man. Joe, man, shout you out. Y'all share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a cousin. Jordan, man, Keith, Steph, and a pleasure for the show tonight. Great talks, great vibes. We killing it. We always grinding. Never stop, man. Y'all be great. Just anything I want to say tonight? We close? Keith, for Jordan, or Stephen?
Yeah, look out for those teams that are not named the Lakers in the top 5 for the West. That being the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns, the Los Angeles Clippers, and especially with the looming health of Kawhi Leonard and the Utah Jazz.
The Timberwolves.
Randall just mentioned the Timberwolves here, so I guess I guess I want to see what
will be in the lottery and be
Timberwolves, man. Y'all, I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but we gotta see what Timberwolves do, man. Randall, shout out to Timberwolves, younger team, but right now, pump the brakes. They gotta get better. Take a couple years, rebuilding mode.
They just gotta keep Karl Anthony Towns happy. They can do that.
Okay.
We'll see.
I feel it, man. Keith, man, any closing remarks you want to say?
No, I think it's just gonna. I'm looking forward to a normal season. Last season was all out of whack with that condensed schedule. So I'm really hoping that there won't be as many injuries this year. It was still a good season last season, but there were so many what ifs that it kind of spoiled it for a lot of people, including me. So hopefully, with this regular season, we'll get more to regular playing, and just looking forward to a good season.
Same here, man. And I'm gonna say this right now. My final prediction. I want to see Nets Lakers. I really want to see just as far as the media ratings. But I'm saying this right now. I have 2 predictions. I got Nets Lakers or I got Knicks Utah. Book it. I dropped the mic. That's my prediction. I hope Golden State goes just to see, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry prove people wrong. But we shall see. People, we here. We love y'all. Happy Monday. Be blessed. We out, man.
If you guys want to shout out any work that you got coming up or anything that you've just done, please shout out your articles, shout out your videos, shout out your podcasts. Let's hear it.
Y'all find me on my podcast, show me some podcasts. I always have articles coming out nonstop. I love sports, trying to pursue this career nonstop, always grinding, never stop pursuing. I love it, and it's something I'm going to do for a long time. Jordan and Keith, for Stephen said something about y'all, just what y'all doing right now.
Oh, well, I'm working on a few pieces pertaining to the Phoenix Suns and how they'll come back going into this season, and kind of just detailing some of the finer things that people might not see from just kind of following them passively. So be on the lookout for more Phoenix Suns talk and really just more NBA talk in general.
Jordan,
Yeah, for myself, like you might catch another article here or two for me. Probably basketball. That's my sport. But you might maybe you'll see a soccer. Like I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm wearing the LA Galaxy because I work uh, for the LA Galaxy right now. So if you are in LA and you want to attend a soccer game, you might see me at a Galaxy games, or you might see me at a Clippers game too, because I also will be part of the Clippers staff this upcoming season too. So, but uh, yeah, you might see an article from me, so or you might see me at a game. So hope to see you guys.
Keith,
Congrats on that.
Yeah, been a little dormant for a while, representing the dad life, but I got a little bit more free time on my hands, so hopefully we'll be getting a few more articles out now. Hopefully 1 or 2 a week. So just be on the lookout for that.
me personally, just wish y'all the best. Jordan, Keith, Stephen, keep grinding. Never stop grinding. Be great, pursue greatness. I wish y'all the best and whatever y'all pursuing long term, whatever y'all do, give y'all, don't give up, network, meet people and people. Never stop grinding, period. Just always grind no matter what.
Gratitude. Appreciate it.
Yep,
Go,
thank
man.
you.
Take care.
People, once again, man, share, subscribe, Twitter, Facebook, IG, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever. Share, subscribe. This is a family here. Share, share, share. We y'all. We love y'all. Peace.